welcome to Love Bites. This is a Yandere visual novel in which you wake up in a dark basement and a man that you've never seen before is claiming to be your centuries-old lover. Let's get started. Alright, I am so ready for this. Darkness. I can feel my eyes open and close, though the darkness stays. I blink again and again and again, but the darkness stays all the same. Ugh. I try to locate my hands, my body seemingly torn apart and scattered throughout the darkness. I can almost feel the microscopic tendrils extending from my brain through my limbs, prodding, squeezing, wriggling just beneath my skin, grabbing hold of my body parts, putting me back together. Finally, I can feel my hands laying beside me on a cold hard stone, tight ropes wrapped around each of my wrists. What I also feel is the lack of any coverage. Whoever did this to me made sure to humiliate me in every way possible. No. All they left me was my underwear. I swallowed the clump forming in my throat and blink away the tears forming in my eyes. Where am I? Hello? No response. Despite everything, I can feel myself relaxed by the apparent lack of anyone else in the room. With my body finally my own again, I can feel the rough fabric rubbing against my eyelids, a blindfold robbing me of my sight. I release a sigh. At least I haven't gone blind. After a moment, I start to make out shape lines shimmering through the fabric in front of my eyes. A basement! I stretch my arms, pull on the ropes half-heartedly, just to see how much range I was granted. The rope tightens as soon as I lift my arms a few centimeters off the ground. Lifting my legs is easier. Apparently whoever tied me hadn't thought it necessary to bind my feet as well. A small victory, though a useless one. There wasn't much I could do with just my feet. I try to remember to fix the projector in my brain, but no matter how hard I push, I see nothing. Who am I? I rack my brain for any piece of information I may be able to locate deep within my mind. The pounding in my head makes it hard to focus on any thought flitting between my synapses. It feels like something buried itself deep into my brain, eating away at any concept of a self I once had. There's a flicker of something. I reach for it, firmly grasping for that piece of myself. What is my name? Yinny. I repeat my name a few times, grasping a hold of the shard of myself. A second one follows soon after, and I can finally put together a coherent timeline of events. My friends dragged me to a local club to make me forget my recent breakup, they reasoned. I begrudgingly agreed and found myself enjoying the evening more than I thought. I even danced with a few people and found myself indulging in more alcohol than I would usually drink. EDM beats drummed through my body and every action I took aligned itself with the mesmerizing rhythm of the night. After a few hours of dancing and joking with my friends, I found myself sharing more than a few looks with a man at the back of the club. He looked like he was in his 20s, auburn hair tinted violet through the stage lights. Oh, wow. Shit. I'm sorry, he's really pretty. Oh my god. Look at the fit. And the collar around the throat. Oh, slutty. His eyes seemed to follow my every move, hunger reflecting in his pupils. My friends joked and nudged me towards him when they noticed a stranger. There was a strange air about him, intriguing and dangerous at the same time. He was alone, leaning against the curtain-covered wall with a cocktail in one of his hands. His other, filled with something in his pants pocket, too small to be seen from my current position. Talk to him. I danced my way towards him, our eyes locked onto each other. The first few words out of my mouth were jumbled. I could feel myself cringe at my failed attempt at introducing myself, but he only laughed and offered up his own name in return. Elias, he told me, taking another sip from his drink. We chatted for a while, learning surface facts about each other and exchanging more and more touches throughout it. He held out his hand, faded scars scattered across his skin. I remember asking about his cat, and even now I could hear his laugh, soft and clear, a charming melody lulling me even closer. His shoulder bumped against mine, always following the upbeat rhythm of the music. Hey, would you like to have some fun? I know a place we could be alone. Elias whispered into my ear, finishing his proposal with a hot blow of air against the shell of my ear. His hand tightened around mine, and we weaved our way between the drunken and dancing crowd, always only mere moments away from one another. Elias looked back at me several times, and I couldn't help the heat spreading across my cheeks when his eyes landed on me. I mean, he is really pretty. I would just like to say though, I would not do this IRL. But because we're playing a video game and I'm here to get you guys the most interesting results, here we are. Our fingers intertwine, and even I could feel his rough skin rubbing against my own. His hands tighten around mine and we weave our way between the drunken and dancing crowd. Elias looks back at me several times, and I can't help the heat spreading across my cheeks when his eyes land on me. My friends laughed and waved when I left the club with my new conquest. I knew they would call the next day, ready to hear every detail of my night. That was the plan. Now I found myself blindfolded in some damp, cold room, my hands bound and belongings gone. Fuck. I suck in my breath sharply. Hold? and release it. The air tastes moldy, wet and deceased. I feel like a thick layer of fungus and decay grew on my tongue. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. I repeat these actions a few times, calming my racing heart. At least I felt no clear wounds, and the lack of an ice bath assures me that no organ had been stolen. Yet. I shudder, thinking about a bloodied cold scalpel cutting into my squishy flesh, ripping apart my layers of skin and muscle, just to reach that precious lump of mass, bloody and warm. In my current state, I have no way of defending myself. All I can do is rest, save my energy, and come up with a battle plan. Though what can I do against someone wholly in control of my fate? Let's rest first. I decide to close my eyes. I shift my body from left and right to left again, trying to find a comfortable enough position. My arms strain against the restraints, my legs go numb, but my head finds a soft spot on my shoulder, and I feel myself doze off. I jolt awake. There is someone else in the room. I think I can hear a sharp breath, and I feel their presence in front of me. Something reaches towards me, though it never touches my skin. I feel feather-like tentacles grip onto my body, immobilizing my limbs and paralyzing my whole being. A whimper escapes my lips, and my ears pick up the slightest hint of a giggle from before me. Something touches the back of my head, and I press my eyes closed, counting to 10 in my mind. The thing touching me goes away, and my face feels a new coolness. I slowly open my eyes. Oh no! I shouldn't be into this, but this guy's kinda cute too. I blink a few times, trying to get used to the dim of the light of the room. A basement, I realize now that the blindfold is gone. At first I don't register the man kneeling in front of me being too occupied with soaking in the cold light from the rusty lamp hanging right above me. Finally, I notice the hand hovering near my eyes, holding the piece of cloth that blinded me a few moments ago. I look up and stare into a pair of cold, unnerving eyes. He smiles, though not an ounce of warmth can be found behind his curling lips. I remember my state of dress and try to cover my lower bits, though my bound hands make any attempt useless and I writhe beneath his scalding cold glare. I feel my fingertips grow cold. This is not the man I went home with last night. Adrenaline pumps through my body as I examine my new captor. Who is he? How did I end up here? Where am I? He coos at my nervous question, his cold hand reaching towards my head and patting it, ruffling my hair in the process. Why? You're in my humble home, of course. Or to be more specific, in my basement. Though, do not worry, you won't be here for long. I can promise you that, little one. Oh, he's cute though. Look at the crop top. My god, that man's got a giant bulge. Look at the crop top and the cum gutters. But, hey yo. Now, you're probably wondering who I am, isn't that right? My name is Johan, at your service. I like your hair. And you, my precious little pup, are the one I've been looking for a very long time now. He places his hand over his heart and does a half bow, an almost mocking depiction of politeness. I freeze. How does he know my name? I swallow while his bright red eyes bore into mine. I feel laid bare, as if he could read every single thought forming in my head. He opens his mouth again, and I now notice his teeth, white, sharp, and unnatural. I need a moment to realize what throws me off until I focus on his long, pointy canines. Were they natural? I had heard of people who wore prosthetics or got surgery to transplant real dog teeth, but this man seems like the thought of body modification has never crossed his mind. As you are awake now, I shall explain to you your purpose of being here. You see, dear, just before he can say anything, a crash interrupts him. I flinch backwards and my head hits the wall. Hard. I can't help but release a yelp, but close my mouth as fast as it opened. The man before me sighs, but ignores me. The sound came from upstairs, but even so he doesn't seem alarmed or nervous. I, on the other hand, only feel more anxious by the second. Was he not alone? Johan, as my captor introduced himself, leans back and looks over his shoulder. He seems to see something, scoffs and rummages through his pockets. I try to gather my thoughts. The pounding at the back of my head subsides slowly, but the pain makes it hard to think. The guy in front of me is definitely weird. I mean, of course he's weird. He kidnapped us. I can't help but turn my thoughts towards the man I met last night. Is he okay? What happened exactly? I still couldn't remember anything after leaving the club, and I can feel worry gnaw at my stomach. Were we attacked on our way towards one of the cabs waiting outside? I almost want to ask my captor if he took Elias, but that impulse leaves as soon as it came. I'll be stupid to think he would even acknowledge my question. Johan seems to have found what he was looking for. His hand now holds an old pocket watch, golden and polished. There are words engraved within the metal, but I can't make out exactly what they say. He sighs, his crimson eyes darting over the clock's dial. With a loud snap, he closes the watch and turns back towards me. It seems like he decided to come home earlier than normal. Oh well, what can I do? He puts his watch away and claps once. I need to go upstairs. Be a good little lamb and stay here, would you, darling? I'll be back as soon as my charge should allow. Johan gives me one last condescending smile before turning and making his way up the old wooden stairs across from me. I can hear the basement door close and slump into myself. What the absolute fuck? Another panic attack fights its way back up and I suppress the urge to scream lest my captor comes to check. I try to think. Johan seemed like it would take a while before he returns. What to do now? Free myself! With no blindfold or creepy man to distract me, I can finally take care of my bindings. I pull on my restraints and twist my wrists. My numb fingers brush past a knot, darting back and forth until I have a strong mental image of the way I'm tied down. Despite everything, I smile. I know this knot, and untying it might take a while, but it would be possible. With a renewed sense of hope, I get to work to solving the knot. The rope binding me merely needs a few more pulls until I can wriggle my wrist a bit. While it might be a tight fit, I can feel enough space for me to squeeze my hand through. Explore the basement. With one strong pull, I manage to free my right wrist, and not soon after, my left one follows. The bindings around my ankles are easy to take care of now that my hands are finally free. My skin burns from the ropes and I can see layers of soft skin patches flake off, revealing red flesh beneath. Ugh! I decide to get up. My legs feel like jelly and it takes me a good few minutes until I can finally stand without threatening to fall over. I pull my knees closer to my chest. Under the dim shine of the light bulb above me, I can finally make sense of my prison. The basement is small. It would only take a few steps to reach the wall. Tools hang on the one before me, neat and tidy. They look old, rust blossoming on the blades of axes and sickles and rot penetrating the wooden handles. Several shelves stand against the wall from above me, containing boxes upon boxes neatly lined beside each other. On my right, I can make out the stairs leading towards a wooden door, the same one Johan left through. Search the tools. I make my way towards the tools hanging on the wall. I should find a good weapon among these. Once I stand in front of the various gardening tools, my hope fades quickly. My eyes wander across the blades, each as rusty and run down as the one before. You can still use them though! I let my eyes wander across the dirty floor, searching for anything of use to me. Dusty footprints lead from me towards the staircase. The floor seems otherwise empty at first, but then I see it. My breath catches in my throat and I feel sick when I notice. Several reddish-black crusty spots spread before me. I do not need to think for long to realize what exactly I'm looking at. When I bow down to closer examine the spots, I see scratches the size of fingernails as well. The scratches seem to lead towards the staircase, stopping abruptly at the bottom step. I jump back and swallow the urge to puke. I shuffle over towards the shelving units and search for anything useful. That sounds scared me. Between old damp newspaper and some empty tin cans, I find a long splintered piece of wood. It reminds me of something, and I only need a few seconds to realize of what exactly. Why is the scratching sound still going? A stake! I weigh it in my hand and press my other against the tip of its sharpened end. Ow! Blood trickles down my palm. I hiss and lick the blood away. Now why did we do that? This should make a good weapon. I decide to sit back down where I was bound up before. I sit down before he catches me walking around. I hold the stake in my hand for a moment, clueless as to what I should do with it. Stake him in the heart! After a few seconds of fiddling with it, I have an idea. Carefully, I place the stake between my butt and thighs and wiggle around a few times. Wait, did I just sandwich the stake between my cheeks? Wow, I guess that's why they call that area an extra pocket. The light from above casts a dark, impenetrable shadow beneath my legs, making the wood hard to notice. The bindings from before lay on the ground where I left them. I pick them up and wrap the rope around my ankles, though looser than before. Still, the rough rope rubs against my open flesh and I hiss at the stray bristles entering my wound. Oh, yuck! I sit for a while, my mind racing with potential outcomes of my current situation. Images of Johan flash before my eyes and my throat tightens. Before it was just an eerie feeling, easily suppressed and covered by seemingly rational thoughts, but now I'm certain. I would not be leaving this place alive. My throat burns and my eyes feel dry. I try to breathe steadily and force down the bile traveling up my throat. Silent tears fall from the corner of my eyes and blur my vision. Soon there is only one thought occupying my mind. I don't want to die. Soon that sentence is all that's left on my mind. The stake beneath my legs did little to comfort me. Even if I would be able to stun him with this piece of wood, I'd still need to escape the house. Johan made it clear that we were not alone. The wounds on my wrist and ankle burn and the baton beneath me is rough enough to make it impossible to find some comfort. The silence burns in my ears, worming its way into my brain. I press one side of my head into my knees and cover the other with my tied up hands. Soon, all I can hear is my own heartbeat, drumming along to an unknown rhythm. Its melody soothes me, bit by bit, and I start to calm down. Suddenly, the door at the top of the staircase flies open and someone rushes down the wooden steps. I need to blink away the salty tears clinging to my eyelashes before I can clearly see the man in front of me. Our eyes meet and a surprised squeak escapes my lips. The The situation would almost be comical if I wasn't half naked and tied up in some lunatic's basement. Before me stands none other than the man I met, what I was assuming to be, last night. Elias! Yinny! Man, this guy's also hot. I shouldn't be happy because you were probably the one who kidnapped me. I don't trust you, Elias. Look at this slutty waist though. I do love a man with a tiny waist. Yinny, I'm so sorry. I took a while before finally getting here. Breaking in took more effort than I expected. He chuckles apologetically and shoots me a cheeky grin. I gape at his nonchalance. Don't trust you. Elias notices my furrowed brows and raises his hands as if to placate me. But don't be worried. He has not noticed my coming. I made sure that he'd be distracted. He laughs again, light and airy, brushing past my ears like a sweet kiss. Dumbfounded, I take a moment to respond. What do you mean? What are you planning to do? I'm here to save you, silly. No, you're not. Don't trust you. I've played enough Yandere games to know. My heart swells with hope after hearing that. Elias draws nearer, and soon towers above me, blocking out the light of the lamp completely. I have to blink away the dark specks flowing across my vision when he does. Only now I was able to realize how uncomfortably bright the light was before. My eyes burn and tears gather along the rims of my lower lids. I blink again and again. Suddenly, Elias grabs me and pulls me up. He does look innocently sweet. Wait, what are you doing? I whisper-yell, too scared to really raise my voice. Still, Elias starts, surprised by my protests. Oh, picking you up of course. We need to leave as soon as we can, or else we'll be in big trouble. He laughs and looks at me with smiling eyes. Still, please don't just suddenly pick me up, okay? You scared me. The music in the background is giving me like Tim Burton vibes and I am loving it. I protest, but only half-hearted. I know Elias is right and I know I won't be able to move fast enough. I sigh and raise my arms. Elias stares at me for a moment with an oh, and he reaches beneath them and lifts me up. What? A squeal escapes my lips, even though I anticipated it. His other arms snake around my legs and he presses me against his chest. This is giving me like some Edward Scissorhands vibes. I love this. Like the music? His warm hands envelop me, and for the first time since I woke up, I truly feel safe. Well, you're feeling wrong. It would be best if you close your eyes, pretty. Then it'll only feel like a moment until you're safe. His chest vibrates when he speaks and his voice lulls me in. I feel safe, protected, and despite everything, I grow drowsy. Oh, don't you dare close your eyes. Don't worry, I'll keep you safe. I want to respond, but my mouth won't open. All I can do is gaze into his eyes until they close as well. After all, you're my one and only. Yes, see? Oh, I am Dunyan Rings. This is the end of the demo. I hope you enjoyed yourself so far. I am Dunyan Rings. Oh, that was a nice little demo. I feel like the scene setting was good. I'm intrigued to find out more about Johan because he claims to be our soulmate. He's very clearly a vampire. And also, in the description, I think he is the one who claims that you're his centuries-old soulmate. Elias, though, I don't trust him either. Because in the page on the game, it says, just a random guy you met in a club, right? And I'm like, not right. Something is wrong. Something is not right. So I don't trust him either. Because he had like a weird air about him as well. Like back at the club. And yeah, I don't know. I think he's something as because on the game page where it says species, it has question marks. So I'm really intrigued by what he is. I really hope for an update soon. I really like this. I'm wondering if Elias is tricking you right now and he's actually in cahoots with Johan, or if they are both enemies of one another. I don't know if it'll turn out that Elias is like a werewolf because he's covered in those scratches as well. Anyway, thank you so much for enjoying the story with me. I hope you guys had a wonderful time. If you guys liked the video, don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. And if you want to hang out outside the streams, I stream on Twitch 4 times a week. Feel free to pop over and join me and my lovely community. We would absolutely love to have you. Thank you so much again. See you guys next time. And until then, take care.